everybody, and welcome to VA's Unplugged. I'm Liz Parker, and I'm the CEO of One-to-One Temps and VA Placements. VA's Unplugged is about the stories behind the virtual assistants who work every day to make your life easier. Today, I'm joined by Susan Wilkin from Adminaholics, and Susan is here to interview Storm McManus. Storm runs a business called Virtual Storm. She's been in business a couple of years. She has a couple of kids. So it'll be interesting to hear her story. Over to you, Susan.
Thanks so much, Liz. Storm, welcome, and thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Susan. Thanks for having me.
Hey. So tell us a bit about yourself. What made you decide to start your VA business?
I guess I decided to start my business really to have that elusive work-life balance that everyone talks about. My VA business came along just after the birth of our firstborn, and I realised quite quickly that I couldn't work full-time. I couldn't go back to working full-time in my previous career. I really wanted to stay home with my young child. I didn't want to miss out on all of his milestones, but I wanted to contribute to our household. So I looked at how I could work from home. That's what I started to do. I started to research that, found out about virtual assistants and what they do, and thought, you know, I could do that. And so that's why I started my business. And my business it grew off the back of the experience that I got in the corporate sector, which was in marketing and communications. And I decided to provide those skills to small businesses.
So you've got a marketing and communications background, but you've also got another background too, don't you, Storm?
I do. You know a little bit about me, Susan. I also am a primary school teacher. So I guess my VA business kind of came along because my lifestyle changed. I started doing marketing and comms for corporate, in the corporate sector and the government sector for about 15 years. And then I kind of got to this point in my life where I thought, oh, I need to do something different. So I took time off and I began teaching. I did a teaching degree and I taught for a few years. And then when our child came along, I thought, oh, I need to do something different. So I became a VA. So yeah, I kind of use both sort of skills, my marketing comms and a bit of teaching skills in my business. But yeah, I don't know, it's something that's evolving over time, I guess.
Yeah. And so you've been in business now for how long?
Not as long as you, only 5 years.
5 years. Oh, well, longer than I thought, Storm. So 5 years. Wow, that's gone quick.
It has. It's gone super quick.
So your business has changed and evolved over that time since you first started. So what sort of services were you offering to what you're now offering?
Yeah, I started off just offering proofreading services to university students. That was my thing. I thought I want to start my own business. I don't quite know what to do yet. I don't have a lot of time because I had my young son to mind and care for as well. So I decided to do things that I could do at night. So proofreading assignments and helping students was the thing that I focused on initially. And then obviously as Reed grew older and he went to daycare and then eventually kindy and school, I found more time available in my day. I also found that I became so much more confident in my business that I thought, well, why just stop at proofreading for students? Why don't I use my strategic skills in marketing and communication, which, to be honest, I used to do on a different platform. It wasn't online marketing and communications, but I upskilled. I learned a lot about online business. I learned a lot about SEO. I learned a lot about website architecture, things like that I started to provide far more strategic services to businesses that needed those. So I moved away from sort of proofreading, easy kind of stuff to, larger, chunkier stuff that was more exciting and more invigorating and I had more time to do. So my business has definitely evolved since those early days.
Yeah. And the stuff that gives you a bit of buzz as well, the stuff that you're excited about getting up with in the morning and you go to bed late because, you know, you're still doing it because you love it.
Yeah, and that's it. You have to find something that you love. I think if we were going to talk about something to share with VAs, that when I talk to new VAs now through VA placements with Liz, I say to the people that we talk to, and you would too, you really need to find that thing that you don't mind doing hours and hours and hours on end, because this is going to be your bread and butter for your business. You have to be able to sit down and do it and love what you do and be good at it. So yeah, it's a pretty big nugget.
Yeah, so things that you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you can't wait to get into, and then you're still going at 9, 10 o'clock at night later sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I totally agree with you on that aspect as well. So tell us, what has been the biggest thing that you've learnt in your business and implemented?
I think for me, sort of like an aha moment that I get is you can't rush it. You want to be able to make a certain amount of money in a year at some point, but you can't rush that. There's steps along the way that you have to take. You have to learn in business, because I'm not a business person. I've had to learn how to run my own business. So you have to experience those things before they come to fruition. You have to learn how to talk to a potential client, how to convince them to take on your services over someone else's. You have to learn how to charge for what you do. There's no set rule, and you have to be okay to take risks and for those risks not to pay out. And it's that sort of thinking to me only came recently. Like, I've changed the way that I do my business in terms of pricing, and this is something that we talk about a lot, Susan. Yes. Instead of pricing your services per hour, pricing them per package, or even pricing them at a premium price, because you have confidence in yourself, you backed yourself, but you can only have that by going through the stages in your business. You can't rush it. That would be my big thing that I've tried, that I've learned, and that I'm trying to implement every day. The next big project isn't just going to happen. I have to go through those learning stages before I see success. So patience is definitely a virtue in business for me anyway.
Going back to something that you said there, you said that you put together an annual goal and those steps that you put together for that. I love that you put together an annual goal, because I find that's always so much easier to budget towards, kind of thing, rather than putting together, right, I need to earn this hourly rate, or I'm not getting out of bed so much. Do you put steps? So do you break that annual goal down into smaller goals?
So I do. So I think about the amount of money that ideally I would like to make in a year, and then I break that down into per month, per week, and what does that mean? How many clients do I have to take on, or what work do I have to do? And when I break it down like that, to be able to afford a certain additional luxury in our life, i.e. a nanny, which we're going through at the moment, I've broken that down. So I know. So I know that jealous. I know I need to make an extra certain amount of money a week, and that money looks like this amount of work. And when you break that down, you know that you can achieve it, and it's not so daunting. Because if you come out with, well, I want to earn $100,000, this year, oh my goodness, can I actually do that? Well, you can. You just break it down into those smaller chunks and you work it out that way. And as a business owner, you make the decisions of whether you're going to stay up till midnight or, to be able to achieve that. So definitely those goals are super important for me, and I know for a lot of VAs like yourself, Susan.
And you'd be finding too that $100,000 annual goal is much easier to achieve with those packages rather than that base hourly rate as well, because you can add so much more value within those packages to be able to sell those larger packages.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a shift in your mindset, and it's a shift in your client's mindset. So you have to take your client on a journey as well. And you don't know how to do that until you're brainstorming with other people or you're doing it. And I would never have the skills I have today if I had stayed in corporate comms or been a teacher. So, and I just, I think it's a journey that we all take.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I like what you said, that you have to take, you go on a journey yourself, and you have to take the client on a journey as well. I couldn't have said that better. That's brilliant. So a couple more questions.
No worries.
So you said that you had to take risks. Is there a risk that you have taken that has paid off or not paid off? Or
I think in terms of it's personal risks. So there was, if I'm completely honest, there was a point in time where I was still doing contract teaching before, and I was working at night. Wow. So the risk I had to take was to cut those ties. I had to for me, it was, I had to put faith in the universe that if I put the effort and time into my business, then I would reap the rewards. And it's something that I have seen for me that's repeated throughout my business journey. So I've had a client, I've worked with that client. All of a sudden, that client isn't really my cup of tea, but I really like the money that client's paying me. But if I make time in my calendar by removing that client, then more work will come my way. I find that I often hold on to clients or hold on to work because I'm not sure what the future will hold. We're all here to make money. But if I take the risk and I know deep down that this client isn't my ideal client, there's things that this client is doing that I don't agree with, or they don't have the faith in my services or my skills, and they're not paying me what I deserve. If I remove that client, I have to have faith that more clients or a better outcome will come my way. So those are kind of the risks that I face in business. And I find that I need to remind myself constantly that taking those risks will pay off. And it's a learning journey.
That's such common risks as well, because, and I think that's where it comes into finding that correct target market to work with, because as you said, if it's not the right client, then you're basically going to make yourself miserable. It's like going into an interview and having an interview with the boss and he's just not very nice, and you walk out of there going, I really need the job, but I don't want to work with him.
Yeah, I know. And again, I think that comes with confidence with new VAs. I find that a lot of people, when you first start out in your VA business, you're doing it because you want an income. So you'll take on any client and you'll charge any rate just to get that money in the door. But eventually, like I said, you go through those learning stages, you back yourself, you realize you can charge more, and you can find a client that suits your niche and your working style and your ethics and all those sorts of things. So yeah, clients are figuring out your target market's a pretty big deal.
So yes, I agree with that, and that's something, as you know, we work with 121 Temps and VA placements as well, because it is an easier sell for marketing as well. So a couple more questions. How do you celebrate your business successes?
Okay, I don't really. Let's be honest.
I think it could be a common theme, really.
Yeah, but I like the idea now of doing it. I think from our interview, I'm going to have to go away and figure out what my reward is for all the hard work and effort I'm putting in. I guess if I think about it, might sound a bit sappy, but at the end of the day, my reward is I get to spend lots of time with my kids, time that I wouldn't get to spend with them if I was working 9 to 5. I'd be dropping them off and they'd be in daycare 6 till 6. But now I get to go and drop my son off at school in the morning, pick him up in the afternoon. I go to all the excursions. I go to all of the, school events and things like that.
Yeah.
So, that I have found that work-life balance that I was looking for originally. And although I don't particularly celebrate every new client or every new project or anything like that, I do get to, the longevity and the long-term rewards are there.
Yes, I agree. And it's those small things that are really important to the kids. It's going to assembly, seeing the student of the week. It's there's those school excursions, those athletics days, those swimming carnivals.
I know.
And at this time of year, it just seems like there's so many of them.
Yeah, I'm only in the first year.
Wait until you've got your youngest there as well. It feels like you're there every week.
I love it.
So, yeah. And so is there something, what is the most fun that you've had with your business?
Most fun I have, I think, is when I'm doing things like this that are not part of my everyday. So my everyday is writing, editing, online comm stuff, talking to clients about their writing needs, you know, getting jobs done. But the fun that I have is in the interaction with other VAs and other like-minded professionals who are doing what we do. You get to have a laugh, you get to share some tips and tricks, and kind of you refill your bucket that you don't get when you're in the corporate world. Because in the corporate world, or wherever world you're from, you can talk to the person that sits next to you about, you know, The Bachelorette last night or something like that. But we don't get that.
Still talk to me about that, Storm.
We'll take that offline. We don't get that when we work in our offices. You know, we need to fill our emotional buckets somewhere. And I think that's the fun that I have, is finding those avenues and being open to that.
Yep, I agree with you. And it's also, as you said, it's being able to spend that little bit of time at school when you're dropping your son off and having a chat to a few of the mums before, you know, having to rush off to work or whatnot, or, you know, they're in the same boat as well. So it's those small little things that you can have fun with. So is there anything that you wish you knew before you started your business?
I think that I was going to say to start it earlier, but for me, I don't think I would have had the confidence to start my own business when I was in my 20s, late 20s. I had to go through my journey to get to where I am now. If I would do anything differently, it would be maybe back myself a bit earlier, take on a few different things that I don't normally do. Public speaking is not my forte, or I don't really like it, but I should do more of it. So in my journey, it's probably backing myself a bit more, finding comfort in those uncomfortable situations, because that's where, you know, that's where things change. So for me, that would be it.
Yeah. Yeah. As I saw her saying the other day, the definition of crazy is doing the same thing but expecting different results.
Yeah, that's a good thing, actually. I should change up a few of my things. I also like the idea of leaning into uncomfortable things, because business is uncomfortable. It's not always easy conversations. You're not always going to please someone. So if you can lean into those uncomfortable moments and just run with them and learn from them, then I think the outcomes are the reward, really. So I need to stop being so, like you said, crazy, doing the same thing over and over. That would be my own research.
I wasn't pointing that at you. I was pointing it at me.
No, not at all. No, not at all. I didn't take it like that at all.
I know. So, last question. What is your best advice for new VAs and anyone considering their own business?
I think that you need to find something that you like doing, that you're good at doing. I think you need to give yourself time. You're not going to make money straight away. To enjoy the journey, I guess. And it is what you put into it. So that's a few different things, but
yeah, no, I like
it's not easy. Yeah, it's not an easy thing. And it's different for everyone. There's a great network of virtual assistants and who are there to help. There's great resources that are available. Just back yourself and it will happen.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Joining that network is one of the best things. And I also found too something similar to what you just said there was it's like that rock star thing, you know. You've these rock stars, all of a sudden you hear them. They're on the radio, they're on the news, they're, you know, in all the magazines and stuff like this. And same with some business gurus as well. But you don't see behind the scenes where they've been doing the pub gigs for the last 10 years. They've been sleeping out of the back of their van and doing the hard yards to finally get that success.
Yeah, because they love what they do. You know, it's this.
Yeah.
I think you're right. It's the same thing. Once you find something that you love and you want to do it constantly, then you get better at it and you reap the rewards at the end. So, yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Storm, for joining us today. That was excellent. I love that journey as well.
Thanks, Susan. That was lovely.
You did a great job. It was an amazing story and it was very entertaining. And what you say is true about all VAs. But I really loved the filling your emotional bucket, because that's one area that we often neglect in our business. And it's great that we do have such a supportive network. So Storm, thank you for sharing your journey. It was really interesting. And it's really great to have you part of our network. And Susan, what a great job interviewing. So thank you, ladies. It's a great story and it'll be on VA's Unplugged.